I did. Yep.
No, we didn't.
Oh, well.
The nerve of us.
What would we have done?
We should have began our interview.
Oh, I was just told to be quiet, so
On
I...
the cue.
And then, all right, let's try it again. Okay. Okay.
What I wanted to ask you about was your comment before we came on the camera about your travels in Japan.
Ah, yeah.
You were there in 1986?
Six? Yeah, when I first arrived.
Yeah, and you went on a contract, or?
No. I'd heard about it from some friends. My relatives came back from Japan, and I went there. I turned in my car after finishing going to school. I cashed in a license plate on my car and got that just little bit of extra money to get a flight one way to Japan. Because my cousins had said, well, you know, we just came back from there. We're there for 3 weeks in the middle of our traveling, and we made $12.95 an hour. I thought, well, that sounds pretty good, so I'll go. So I got got a flight that was down to LA with an 8-hour stopover before I'd get on a flight that was to Hawaii with a 2-hour stopover, and then the flight after Hawaii on directly to Tokyo. And I got out in Tokyo and went right to the airport counter, and after going through customs and asked about how I get a room, and I had this guidebook that she'd given me that I was trying to study on the plane.
Narita Airport?
In Narita Airport, yeah, and I knew nothing about anything other than what the guidebook said. And I had a certain amount of money, but not very much. I think I had about 15,000 yen. Mm-hmm. And the place where I went to stay the first night, and I was so tired, I'd hardly gotten any sleep. And a little man in the airport, when I left the airport with somewhere to telephone and a little map to get partway there, and to telephone the Ryokan once I got there. I arrived at the train station, and I looked at all these boxes in the huge bustle of people where you buy tickets. The walls were covered with these boxes, and I was supposed to take somehow this money that I had and get a ticket to go through the turnstile that was looking very guarded to me, and get on a train. And which train and which aisle? There was so many long, it was forever. It's worse than the tube in England, way worse. And nothing's in English. And the little maps of how much it costs, they're all in Japanese. So I just stood there being very shocked and frustrated, and a man came up to me and said, "May I help you, please?" Oh, what a lifesaver. Yes. I need to go, and I pointed, and he couldn't read the English, but he was willing to listen. So I gave my best rendition of the name of where I needed to go, and he helped me out. And he took the coins from my hand and put them in the box and led me and went there with me. And I'm terrible. I'm a really light sleeper, but on the train, while it's going, calling out the stops, I was sure I'd never know which was the stop that I had to get off at. I was sitting there, and I was very, very tired. I kind of like got up 2 days ago and still hadn't been to sleep. And I fell asleep on the train, and the man pushed me, woke me up, and I was dead asleep. Oh, God, what have I done? I'm sure I'm lost. And he helped me. Oh no, come on, hurry. She got the door, come. So
this wasn't the bullet train, this was just
a regular trains, yeah. The bullet trains are something else. They're kind of like riveted against your seat for a little while, but I went to the Ryokan, and it was 3,500 a night, but it was actually a love hotel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love Palace. Tell me about Love Palace.
That's right. Yeah. At nighttime, they charge just the 1 hour price, and you spend the night. In the daytime, it's 3,500 per hour.
And do you go in through the front desk, or do you have your own entrance to go?
They're all different. Some of them look like miraculous castles with little flags painted in pink and blue and green. And you can park your car in a covered area, like they pull a curtain across so that your car can't be seen by anybody else who happens to be using the same hotel. And
I have to speed it up a little bit. My dialogue, is that what you're saying? Oh, what? Oh.
They're not
Stand by.
Oh, this is a very poor production, isn't it? I don't.
What?
You're supposed to wrap it up.
Oh, we got to wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Well, thank you very much for spending the time telling me about Japan. What I'd like to do is to have you back next week and you tell us more about the money you earned translating and teaching
Okay.
students. Thank you very much.
Okay, next Wednesday I'll see you.
Well,
Did we wrap it up too fast? No, it's fine.
Yeah, you were talking a minute ago about trains and taking the bullet train.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, across Japan from Tokyo to Osaka. I caught the bullet train. It's expensive.
How long did it take?
It took 4 hours, I believe. But it's quite a distance. And it goes up to 230 kilometers an hour, which isn't really so fast, but it's pretty fast across land.
I myself worked for the railway for quite a few years, and even riding on just the speeders down the track at 35, 40 miles an hour is quite fast. So
Yeah.
230 kilometers would be a little on the exciting side.
Yeah, but you can still walk and drink and wander around. They serve food on the trains. It feels like you're on a regular train, but the scenery goes by a lot faster. It blasts right by Mount Fuji too.
So did you go by in good weather by Mount Fuji?
Yeah, it was okay, but there always seems to be that cloud that's up near the top, so you can't really see the top. I don't know how the people who got the photographs of it, because it seems that every time I went by it driving too, every time we've been anywhere near, there's that cloud sitting right near the top.
Must be a winter day, fairly crisp and cool when they take the pictures.
Yeah, probably. It's really cold in Japan in the winter. They get lots of snow too. It's very much like Nelson. The weather really warm in the summer, but it's more humid there than it is here. A lot more humid.
Had you taken any trains in Canada?
Yeah, via rail,
Yeah.
from Toronto to Vancouver.
Okay, that would probably have been the CN line or CP.
I believe it was CP.
Yeah, it went through Calgary.
That's right.
Okay, it would be
Yeah.
CP line.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No, they have one a week
Yeah, from Banff, I think.
from
into
Calgary to Vancouver, and I think they do a circle route that goes back CN line up towards Edmonton
Right.
and makes a complete circle. It's kind of an excursion run.
Beautiful trip, and like especially full moon through the mountains.
Well, I always thought that they scheduled it wrong, because majority of the time coming out, it would hit the best part of the mountains at night. You'd be going through some of the best scenery just as it's getting dark, and then most of it you're spending through it at night.
Yeah.
Then just before VIA shut down, they started this other train that they would run once a week on Thursdays, and it would leave Calgary, so it would be running through the majority of the part of the mountains during the daylight hours.
Oh, great.
And that ran for 2 years and then pretty well shut down. Now that's the train that they run.
Is the one that goes
existing.
through in the daytime?
Yes.
Ah, great.
So you end up going through Kamloops and that, I think, later in the night, but you're going through the...
Yeah, it's okay to go through Kamloops at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I went through during a full moon, and it just lit up the sides of the mountains. It was sort of like just going through the crack of a valley. The mountains were right there on either side of us, and they went up really, really high. It was awesome, like literally awesome.
It's almost like night in there in the daytime, the way the sun doesn't make it to a lot of areas.
Is that right?
Right around Glacier there. You can be wearing sweaters, down jackets and everything in July, because it would be quite cold, because the sun never gets into some spots. You'll find snow there even in mid-August.
Right. I keep hearing bustling noises there.
Yeah. And,
Okay, quiet on the set.
We are very fortunate today to have here Judith. She's first lady police officer in Nelson. I would like to know when did you decide to follow this occupation and why?
Well, it's not a decision that you make all at once. It happens over a period of time in your life. Events accumulate. Finally, you make that kind of decision. I think it was a good decision for me to make. And,
I am very interested, how is it with crime in Nelson? Do you find a lot of vandalism or a lot of stealing and robbing? Or?
well, when I first came here, I came from a big city. And so the immediate effect of coming from a big city is a sense of it being so peaceful and serene. But underneath Nelson, I think it would be wrong for Nelson to be complacent about those issues. There's a lot of a change as new groups of people come in, a lot of difference between people who've lived here for a long time and people who don't have the same kind of loyalty or family connections. Sometimes maybe they feel displaced. It's not a lot of places for young people to be in the city.
And, do you plan to have some sessions with the people from Nelson to watch around for their houses? You know, I don't know, how do they call it?
Watch yes, like the neighborhood watch program.
Neighborhood watch.
It's certainly been used a lot in suburban areas and has been quite successful. I think in many ways Nelson already has that, in the sense of a commitment to what happens within the community, and formalizing that would not be a big problem.
Do you wear a gun while you are working?
No. In Canada, we try as much as possible not to do that. So often being armed only aggravates situations.
I wonder, I always heard that you are supposed to arrest, you can arrest somebody, it's called citizen arrest or something, but who will listen to you if you are, like if you see somebody is breaking into the store and no policemen's around, so how do you do it?
Well, it's true. The feeling of citizens to be actively involved in preventing crime is something that we haven't dealt with in a very straight-ahead manner. A citizen's arrest is very difficult. If you see someone committing a crime, many times you'll be asked to say, what was your involvement in that? And that does make it difficult, and some of those laws should be updated, made more current.
Do you find there is a lot of vandalism with the teenager group, or more serious crime, like break into the houses? Or?
Oh, for sure. I think that you probably are seeing more vandalism. And more vandalism now, I think it's directly related to not a lot of employment in the area. I think that we have asked young people to be on hold for a certain period of time, and they have the energy and the resources to be making their way in the world, and they don't have any way to make this particular moment.
I wonder how much parents can influence the children if they knew about the problem. Is it from the childhood they learn this behavior, or can it be prevented by the education from the childhood?
I think in some cases what you're asking is quite valid, that how parents treat the child itself, how a child is treated, really influences a lot on how it is going to grow up and treat other adults and the environment around it. But I think a lot of it comes from social issues. I think more than we like to think about, a lack of respect for the role that teenagers can play in our society. I really do feel that they are asked to stay not as adults and not as children for way too long. There's very little meaningful work for them. and they're not incorporated into the volunteer system. I mean, that'd be an ideal solution if we had useful and respected work for them.
I was once involved, I was just watching, but some guy was in the truck and he was driving all around the parking lot and police came, and I didn't like how they talked to him. I think they should be educated to be more sensitive to the problems, because after that I talked to the guy and I told him he's waking everybody up and he shouldn't do it, and he apologized and he said my brother just died. And he was very upset. He said, why should he die? But policemen didn't go, so deep. They just were very angry at him. And I think they need to be educated a little bit.
So, Helen, in this case, was it was it an RCMP policeman,
I don't know.
Was it a local policeman?
I don't know.
Because I agree with you. I think, especially in the case of local policemen, that they need more education and they need more social skills, more social training to deal with situations like that. We spend a lot of money training RCMP. We spend a lot of money on that, and there's a big focus on their community awareness. Sometimes they're very young too, and don't have the skills yet. But it's a responsible position.
Under every aggravation there is some reason, and they should first find out how the person feels, why he feels that way, that he's doing this. I think it should be part of the education.
I think so. I think another problem with working in the police force, and one that I would certainly have to consider very carefully in the rest of my life, is simply burnout. I think that the day-to-day dealing with these types of issues is bound to cause a dehumanizing effect, and that society has to deal with that.
And I heard that policemen are once, there is a group about, it's a policeman, then there are lawyers and dentists. They abuse wives the most. I wonder why is it? It's probably of the pressure in the work.
Could be pressure. It could also be that those are all positions of power. And if you're attracted to a position of power, perhaps that's how you're going to deal with life.
Thank you very much for your time here.
Oh, thank you for asking me. It was a
Goodbye.
pleasure.
That's it for today.
So who's talking this time?
And I heard that you are working with the tramway.
Right now I'm involved in a video project with the tramway, documenting the history of the past streetcars in Nelson, plus what it took to get it up to date as far as the construction of the streetcar is now. With the restoration of the car itself, plus the building of the tracks, and hopefully fairly quick the first run.
So I heard Go BC had an involvement in part of the funding for this project.
I think they funded us, my
1/3?
numbers, pretty well 1/3 of what the project cost was. The other 2/3 had to come from
Public donations.
Public donation, volunteers. The hours were calculated in that also. I think it was, numbers kind of slipped me as dollar value. I think it was up around 145 was one of the first grants that we had gotten in for that.
145,000.
Yes. And then they had added additional since then to it. With this video project and that, I've learned quite a bit through the history of the streetcar, just going over pictures and old slides from right back day one pretty well when the streetcars were running, and there's a lot of good pictures of accidents and that type of thing where 22 had run down the hills a few times, get away 3 or 4 times. One of the first runs when they were checking out the track, the 22 had gotten away from them and pretty well slid. It was the inaugural run, I think.
Yeah, one of the cars that they're using is the original, one of the original cars that
It
was
was,
first introduced?
It's number 3 that the Nelson Street Railway Company had bought at that time. They had 21 and 22, which were a double-ended car at that time. And they needed more, well, passenger usage was so good that they needed a third car to complement it. So they found out from the city of Cleveland that Cleveland had a few cars that they were going to sell off, and Nelson accumulated this car, I think around 1908. Like I say, my numbers are way off on remembering. But it ran in Nelson till 1949, and that was the last time streetcars ran in Nelson.
When Mayor Stubbs pulled them out, saying that it was inefficient in certain types of weather too.
Well, the fall was one of the major ones that you always gave them problems with the moisture and the leaves going down on the rails.
On the tracks.
Snow wasn't too bad because the sweeper unit would clear the majority of the tracks, plus the streetcar itself had sanders in front of each of the wheels to provide traction so the wheels wouldn't slip going up the grades
So
and
work in
such.
snow but not on leaves.
Yeah, the leaves would plug up underneath the wheels, and in turn the wheels would just kind of skid along the rails themselves.
So how do they expect to prevent that now?
We don't have, we have
Trees
one
anymore?
grade, one small grade. I think it's a 15% grade. It's not that much at all. And
For the layout that they're going to do now.
yes, and the only grade is coming off the mall heading back towards Lakeside Park.
Right. So possible expansion would maybe bring up that problem again.
It could, if we were heading uptown or that type of thing, it would be working with substantial grade, but the streetcars, they seem to have no problem with the grade. There's more than enough power in the motors to make it up. Well, they went right up to the top of Kootenai Street and various other hills at that time.
Can they do the school run, the run by the university, CIC College?
We would need to cross over CP tracks at some point along that way.
I
Maybe
see.
underneath the bridge and then cross up and go up that way. But there has been talk about maybe development down around the old KFP site. So
yeah,
there
it
would be
seems that's right. There's going to
one
be
of the easier expansions for us to do if
Mhm.
it did expand to anything down there, hotels or whatever. The streetcar could run down there, and I guess that's about all the update I could do at this
Okay,
point.
great. Well, thanks for telling me about that. I need more of that information. Okay, thanks very much. Okay. Hi. And I want to ask my guest tonight about the tramway project that's happening down by the mall, and about this, what the information you were giving me on by the airport. You were saying there's where the trains were.
Down on the CP yards, yeah.
Yeah.
The ground has been with toxic metals and heavy metals and other toxic materials that was built off of trains over the last 100 years pretty well in that area, that the ground is pretty well contaminated through and through. There was one area there you might have remembered, I think it was earlier in the spring or even last fall, that they were talking about putting the recycling plant there.
Yeah.
And the ground was too toxic underneath for even that. The area that they were talking about right now, they have culverts in there for seep pits, that they're reclaiming old petroleum products from down around the Shell bulk station there. I guess they had quite a few spills and just minor leakage throughout the period of time that there's enough down there. There's a guy that goes down, I think, every 3 weeks or so and pumps this old oil or old petroleum products out of the ground into storage tanks and hauls it away.
Oh, well, that's handy.
I was talking to one guy that was doing some of the water testing. He comes every 6 months and tests the seep water that comes out of there. He didn't give me any of the results, but the seep water that he was bringing out was fairly black when I was looking at it.
Oh.
And that was over
really?
behind the school board building there where they keep all the buses.
That's really pretty tragic. This is our area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hardly industrialized at all.
No, but
And they want to put in and down part of what'll make that tramway quite handy is the fact that it's going to be going by where the boats are now, that big dock. They're putting in a hotel or condominiums or something.
Yeah, there was talk of Water's Edge Marina, I guess, putting in a hotel complex there. And at one part, there was mention of us rerouting our track, the loop that we have down at that end, through the lobby, and you would pick up passengers in the lobby. That was just one of the
Cutesy.
plans. Whether or not that ever comes through, it'd be nice to see.
Yeah, but that's pretty commercial too. It's
Yeah.
kind of pumping that the place that's down there, rather than that it's for all of Nelson, the tramway. That's kind of pushing it,
Then
promoting
again,
the hotel.
a lot of people, if they do put a hotel there, they'd probably have a real nice restaurant area that people would be coming down and probably sitting over the water and to get back and forth. Like if they do put a hotel there, I can't see there being a whole lot of parking, and that leaves them all back to the parking end for the whole area again, where the tramway could run back and forth and carry passengers.
Well, the mall is on a pretty nice piece of land, and it seems a shame that that beautiful lakefront parking, should go to waste. It's why not utilize it?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a tragic thing that they did setting that up.
There was,
But it's pretty good for the tramway because they can just cut right through that parking lot.
yeah, so far.
Yeah,
Haven't had to contend with any vehicles yet.
yeah.
I was in the speeder a couple of times and it was fairly scary. We
Yeah.
have a little track inspection car that we run up and down. It's a two-person track inspection car we had received from the railway. And we went to do some loops, down around the loops a couple of times, and going through the parking lot, it was lots of traffic. And people, because the tracks were sitting there so long,
Okay.
aren't noticing the streetcar.
That would be dangerous business.
See that happening right now. What we do is we try and place the chips that we were talking about. We try to place them somewhere in either the Pacific Northwest, export them to Japan or somewhere else. So I see that as being, I see that as not being an additional demand in that respect. But in terms of the, as fiber becomes more
Bubble.
Rely on the mobile cable, some of the threads are stressed that one of them doesn't really go much in 3 turns.
It's my favorite part.
Oops.
Communication was sponsored by Castlegar Super Value. Super Value, where your satisfaction is our main concern.
Yeah, at Super Value, yeah, our satisfaction is their main concern. Yeah, sure, they told me on television. Of course I believe what I hear. What do you think, eh, if I don't listen? I won't learn. What do you mean I'm an asshole? Well, why do you say I'm narrow-minded? I can't understand it. Wait a minute, I've got another call. You have to speak up, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Hello? Okay, well, he hung up. What do you mean there's no other line? Sure, I'm sure there was. I just answered it. Yeah, it says Color Voice 2000 Philips. It's a new phone. Yeah, it doesn't have a wire either. Well, Merry Christmas to you too. You have to tell me when.
Go.
No wonder I hate this job. I hate this place. No wonder I have a drinking problem. I have a job. On a whiskey. Not 2. 3. I'll smoke some. Cigarettes, too.
Okay, you got it, David. I got it.
Right. Did you want my tab?
I'd like to, but your tab's getting up there. Put a couple of thousand down, if you just fine, it would be all right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Take care of that.
All right. Great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love the smell of money.
It's against the law to be taking pictures like this.
Yeah.
Stop taking a picture.
Okay, you're gonna stop taking a picture.
It is against the law. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You got our permission. Right. If we get you guys on camera.
Well, we were just there.
No, maybe on the light, but.
Oh, okay.
But that's Zoom. That's a really hot camera. And it's gonna get erased today anyway.
That's okay.
Well, so what? What? You want to debate?
Well, I'm not debating. I'm not debating.
For child support, and I'm fucking wanted, so don't get me.
No story for me. Yeah, if you're gonna take pictures in a
I hate my job. I hate my job.
Not a bad day in the paper today. Go check out, see what these guys are up to.
Well, they just catch on the second set of thread.
Boring stuff. So, would you like me to give you a commentary on the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how was your day today?
Well, it wasn't that good. First thing this morning, I ended up sliding through 2 intersections. So I decided it was time to go get my brakes fixed. Now, hopefully I won't slide through any intersections. And ICBC won't get too much more money from me.
What did you learn nice today? What did you see nice today?
Nice today? Not a whole lot of people other than the people down at the stores I went to that were being nice to me because I wanted my money. All in all, it wasn't too bad a day, I guess.
How will be your Christmas? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a pretty good one. It's just going to be the 3 of us. And my fiance has to work Christmas Day and I think Boxing Day too. So I get stuck cooking the dinner and making all the arrangements and everything. But I think we'll have a fairly good one.
What do you think about the future? What is waiting for us as a species, human species?
Well, that's a tough one.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic or realistic?
Optimistic the way these and that have been opening up to new policies for human rights and such. The world's opening their eyes towards pollution, and cleaning up the planet. And that's something that definitely has to get taken care of in the next few years. If not, there won't be a planet around for us.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
And good day to you too.
You know all this from
Yeah.
the cars, and I don't know anything.
I'm so used to being behind the camera that, oh, I forgot to turn it off.
Be my guess. You know, maybe a nervous tick, like a shoulder. Maybe a foot that goes up and down. Maybe a compulsive need to straighten up his shoelaces.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is pan away from you.
What?
Reach in. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in.
Okay, I'll lounge up to the scenery for you.
Oh, okay.
Now, how will you cope with people who move back and forth?
Okay, now lunge.
Lunge?
Yeah.
Which way?
Whichever way.
I can't lunge. There. Did you make it?
Okay. Huh. Okay. So we've taken 7 minutes and 52 seconds now. Okay. So there's a little red.
Now.
Now you're shooting, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's with the lights on.
Right.
Right. Now let's try turning the lights off.
What lights?
These lights, and then
No. Just a second.
because then you can turn the light on your camera. Okay.
All right. You're not doing anything very exciting. You'd be a very difficult interviewer. I can tell.
Yeah. Are you close in tight?
Yes. Big mistake.
Okay. So you can zoom back.
Yeah.
But you can do it with power. You don't have to zoom in.
What do you mean?
There's a power zoom. There it is on your just by your fingertips. On your right hand fingertip. On this side, yeah. See? Okay.
Nothing's happening.
Well, do it the other way.
Oh, 2 buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that ever so
Okay.
clever?
Yeah. Keeps focusing too. Now, if you want to put it on pause, I'll go and so you can see that light, can you now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you pan, you can pan that way and pan this way. Can you remember what trucking was?
Trucking is moving forward. Slowly.
That's dollying.
Dollying?
Yeah.
Oh, is trucking going backwards?
Trucking is moving sideways, I think.
Huh.
And then there's, what's the one that goes up and down? Panning? No, panning is that. Trucking is that. Elevating? No, it's not elevating, it's tilting is like this. Okay? It's tilting. And then there's one
Tilting
that
is
goes
like
up
this?
like this and down like that. I don't know what it is. Okay, let me have a look at that one. Can I have a look at that one?
Oh, I see. Very fine. That's nice.
And roll crop, when it's meant to roll, you can change where you want to end this page. You don't want to roll the blank space. You can actually cut
What
the
do
page.
those numbers refer to? The pixels on the
Yeah,
TV screen?
pixels from the top down. Yeah.
What is it, 5 something?
It's probably I don't know, somewhere around 5 something. Yeah. Crawl line tells you where you're gonna put the crawl. If you're doing crawl line,
Where do you normally put it?
if you wanna crawl it on the top or the bottom.
Where do you normally put it? bottom or top? I mean, not really.
Any specific numbers that you normally use or anything?
No, let's say
Or not?
if you wanna, let's go to. Okay, let's show you one of the.
When they had the
Okay, well, let's
political
select
campaigns
this
and stuff going on.
for this page. And,
Want to choose that?
No?
yeah.
owner. And you know, I don't know about other people, myself, I like to deal at the store. When you come in, they're very pleased to see you.
Well, that's true. And this is one of the old-style drugstores, that's
the
for
old
sure.
style. And they have, if they have time, they will speak a few words to you. If they can't, well, they, you know why.
Yeah, they're usually busy. That's right. So do you know any juicy stories about Mr. Mayo that you can tell us?
No.
No juicy stories at all?
No. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
These are the ladies that work for Mr. Mayo, and I have...
Karen. And Diane.
So, tell me, how long have you been working for Mr. Mayo here?
Almost 5 years this year. And I've been here about six years this time and a year and a half once before.
Is he a pretty good guy to work for?
Best. Yeah, he is. He's really good. Very good.
So, do you know what you're going to be doing after he closes down? Are you another job, or are you just going to take it easy? Or?
You can't say. I'm going to take it easy for a couple of months. And I'm going to work at Shoppers.
Oh, I see. Over the years that you have worked here, are there any sort of stories or anecdotes that come to mind that kind of stand out about, working for Harold? Or?
I'm always forgetting stuff.
But I'm finding it for him.
I had good training under Mr. Fleury. I mean, he made sure that I did everything right and welcomed the people and showed me how to treat them, and that's the main thing, I think.
I think so.
We had delivery service then. I was the delivery boy.
Oh, is that right?
But at that time. Then when I got back, they still had it for a while. I think there's a list on the wall downstairs of about 15 of them that they all wrote their name on the wall in the basement, about 15 boys that, but none of them took pharmacy.
Yeah,
I guess they didn't like the hours.
No. But I guess you can really and truly be said that you started from the ground up in this business, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah. We, as I say, I had good training. And I found that at the university, any of the ones that were going to university, not all of them, that had some training in the back, did better in their dispensing exams than the ones at the coast.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I guess they still don't do it, I don't know, but they wouldn't let them in the dispensary. I suppose Mr. Fleury was sort of bending the rules a bit, but I got a chance to do more stuff that way, so it helped out in the end at the
Yeah, I'm sure it gave you a better overview of what the business was all about.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Something that it just isn't done anymore, that's for sure.
I don't know. Now they go to the university, which is true, and it's a tough course. And then they have to spend a year in a store to fill in their practical time. But whether that's enough, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
They would be able to tell you that.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about when they filmed Roxanne the movie here?
It was interesting. It took a day to film, what, 2 minutes? It was really
because they had a scene in the drugstore here.
Yeah, they did, yeah, standing right there. Oh. Yeah, it was really good, yeah. She sold them some blush. But it took all day long, so that was something.
Found out how hard they work.
Yeah.
They shoot from both angles, and it was really interesting. We sat the whole day and watched them.
Oh, so you were actually able to be inside the drugstore here?
Yeah, we were
sat
upstairs.
and
Yeah,
watched
they
them
took all
day
this
long.
out here. This is where they did it right here. But yeah, it was interesting.
Did you get a chance to meet any of the actors and actresses, or just from a distance?
Just from a distance. But they did come in, like when they're like even before they were shooting here. We had Olivia Newton-John was in the store too, because her husband starred in the movie too.
He was
Yeah.
a director, I think one of the directors.
Yeah, so that was
Sold her baby
interesting.
thing. She had her baby with her.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, there you go. One of the real perks of working in a drugstore in the corner of Nelson, Baker and Warden Nelson.
People used to come came for a long time, and they'd say, "Is this the drugstore where Roxanne was shot?" And they'd just
From the
walk around and
States
stare at
and everything,
things from Texas and all over.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
It was fun.
Did they ask you for autographs by any chance?
No. We weren't in the movie. They wouldn't let us be in the movie. Kept on saying, "Sit down, we can see you."
Yeah, we can see you. Get back.
Couldn't help but noticing whenever I came into your store, these pictures that you have on the shelves, and they're quite remarkable in their own right. And I was wondering if there was any kind of a story behind that, or
No, one of the drug companies, the Park Davis Company, put them out and gave them to the druggists that wanted them. And they, I don't know how many sets they gave out. I've seen other stores with them in, but they took them off the market after a few years and put out one on the medical doctor one.
Oh, I see.
But I don't think they're as impressive as those.
No, they're quite nice. I've always admired them. It gives the store kind of a special quality.
Yeah, they're good pictures.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your own personal background, about your parents, like where they came from?
Well,
what did they do?
My parents came here from, we were transferred here from Winnipeg. He was with the CPR, and he heard Nelson was a nice place to live and good weather, so out he came. And I came here in 1935.
Oh, I see. And your dad was working for CPR?
With CPR, yes.
Yeah. And then you went to school here for 4 years?
Here for yeah. Grade 10 to senior matric. That'd be grade 10, 11, 12, and 13 at that time.
Oh, 13, yeah, that's right. You don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore, no, that's right.
Yeah. Are you married, and do you have children?
Yes, I'm married, and my wife's name is Lynn, and I have 3 daughters. And they're all married, and I have 4 grandchildren. And they're spread around the country. One's in Vancouver, one's in Leduc, and the other one's down in London, Ontario, which I hope to visit once I leave this store.
Oh, right. Do you, I've heard that you're quite the golf, I wouldn't say fanatic, but quite the golfer, let's say.
Well, I had something here, I don't know where it is. Somebody must have took it. It says I have a golf nut on it, but I don't see it up there. Anyway, yes, I played a lot of sports. As soon as I came here, I got into, never saw the game of lacrosse, and I took that up, and then in the wintertime I took up junior hockey.
Oh, yeah.
And then fastball, which is the other version of softball. But when I got older, I quit all those and started golf.
Started golfing.
Played it ever since.
So basically all those hard and fast sports were when you were a younger
A
fella.
lot younger, that's right, yes.
Actually, I remember my mother-in-law was telling me that she was talking to one of her friends, and her husband, when he was a little boy, you guys used to play hockey out on the lake when it used to freeze over.
Oh, yes, you used to play on the lake, and you could skate up to 5 Mile and back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been something. We don't get those
you
cold
don't
winters
get that
anymore.
Well, the dams finished that, you see.
Yeah.
Lowered the water, I guess. And hasn't been as cold either.
That's true.
It freezes a bit now, as you've noticed, but
nothing like it used to.
Nothing like it used to, no.
Well, when you played lacrosse, did you play in a league? Was there
yeah, we had the junior league here. I lived down in by the Hume School, which was Fairview, and I was called Bogastown in those days, but I played lacrosse, and we used to play against Roslyn and Trail.
Yeah.
And we won the championship here one year, and went over to the interior over in Armstrong and won that title. Then I got promoted up to the senior, and we played with a real good league of Trail, Roslyn, and ourselves. In fact, they had one team come up from the coast. I didn't play at the time, but they were quite a surprise when they found the caliber of lacrosse.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time since lacrosse has been played here, I'm sure.
Yes, it fell down during the war, and there was a bit after the war, because when I was going to university, I came back and played
I see.
For a time.
Yeah. Well, that's been pretty much superseded by hockey now, I guess.
Hockey now, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, what kind of handicap do you have in golf?
Left-handed.
Left-handed.
Yeah. Oh, anywhere from 14 to 16.
Yeah.
I hope it'll be get down now that I get more chance to play.
Yeah, it's a good time to be taking up golf. I mean, since Balfour is building a golf course and ours is expanding to 18
lots
holes.
of courses to go to now, yes. Yeah.
If you had to be asked, if you had a philosophy of life, would you have one? Is there something that sort of you think?
Well, the only philosophy I have had, and I guess because I was here in the business, that treat them like you'd like to be treated yourself.
Yeah.
Really. And if you can set your mind on what you want to be, try and get to it, but that's not always possible.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't give them any other advice than that.
Get up early in the morning and go to work, don't miss a day, right?
Well, that's what happens in this business.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're finally at your retirement, any big plans, travel or?
I'll probably travel later on when I get things settled here, you know. And, not used to traveling and taking my time. I don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When I've gone on a short holiday, we're in a rush to get there, in a rush to get back. You know, just have to take our time and loaf along the way.
Good idea.
You know.
Any particular place that you have in mind that you'd like to travel to, or?
Well, we'd like to go to Reno.
Yeah, right.
Everybody
spend all your hard-earned money.
Yeah, go to Reno, but I'd like to go down south, maybe farther, and stay a while.
Somewhere where it's warmer?
Warmer, yeah. But I still like Canada really better than the States.
Well, you can do what a lot of people do, I guess, in the wintertime, take off to the south and fly back.
I'll travel around, I guess, like my wife said the other day. We've never been to Prince George or any of those places, and now I got a chance to. It was too hard to get away, you see.
Yeah.
I guess I've been stuck here too long.
Too long.
You know.
Yeah. Well, how old are you now?
Do you have to know?
Do I have to know?
70.
Well, 70. Oh, 70.
70 years
well,
old.
you're long past due for your retirement.
Oh, yes.
Actually, I was looking at a picture back there where there's a bunch of your friends holding signs up there.
Yeah,
that was your official retirement when you were 65.
Official retirement as far as they were concerned, yes.
Yeah. So what did they do? Just show up one morning outside your store?
They just showed up one morning with some placards and got a hold of me and marched me around the store and out in the street and then brought me back in.
And everybody thought you'd gone on strike for the day?
And everybody wanted to know what I did. What did I do now?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, they're good friends of mine.
I suppose with your retirement too, as well as traveling, you'll probably do a lot of golfing and.
I'll do as much golfing as I can.
Yeah.
I always like to go traveling, and I golf, and the shopping centers are open for my wife to go to, so it works out well that way.
Sure. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure we'll see you around town again.
I think so.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your retirement.
Probably walking up and down the street for something to do.
Something to do. Great.
You say it's a different change, all right.
Yeah.
And I'll have to get used to it, you know.
Yeah. On February 28th, Harold Mayo will lock up for the last time. For him, this will be the end of a long and rewarding career and the beginning of a well-earned retirement. But for Nelson, this will be the end of an era. There has been a family drugstore in this corner for 58 years. When the doors close for the last time, they will close on a long piece of Nelson's history. Like the song says, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Good luck, Harold. We wish you a long and a happy retirement. Next, we have Happy and Healthy, a recent press conference which was held to launch a community profile project.
Happy and healthy?
Next, we have the Shujenzi Cultural Display. For those of you who may have missed it, there was an open house on Friday at the Savoy Bingo Hall where this exhibit was on display prior to being sent to Japan.
Now in 1986, City Council decided to enter into a sister city relationship with Shujenzi, Japan. This decision has resulted in the most successful, active, and exciting twinning relationship in this province. And I would like to call upon His Worship Mayor Gerald Rodering to say a few words and to introduce to you 3 young ambassadors. Gerald?
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, come on forward. Please meet Odessa King, Tony Jensen, Graham Brown, and with them, David Thum, Thumm. I think it's important that these people be up here while I speak to you for a few minutes, because although much of the discussion today and much of what you'll see promoted is going to be called economic development, I don't think we're pursuing economic.
Hockey night in Nelson is next. A recent junior hockey league game between Castlegar and Nelson. This was a very close game that went into overtime, and for those of you who like it, lots of fights.
Beaver Valley can lose. There's a play in front of the Nelson net. Scherers clears it off the boards, and the Maple Leafs starting away. Scherers down the ice, fires it into Castlegar territory. At center ice, Centroni fires it back in again. And behind the net is Fletcher for Castlegar. Fletcher off the boards, taken by Vecchio. Vecchio has it knocked off of his stick, and it's back into Castlegar territory. And Fletcher again off the boards. Castlegar on the attack. They need to win this one to make the playoffs, as Dale Bonderud backhanded that one into Nelson territory. And the Maple Leafs.
Next is gavel-to-gavel coverage of Nelson City Council for February the 19th.
Council will call the meeting to order at 7:30 on February the 19th of 1990. The first item will be the adoption of the agenda with the late items that are offered.
I'll move we adopt the agenda with the light items.
All those in favor? Carried. The adoption of the minutes from our public meeting of February 12th.
Move adoption.
Second. Hearing no errors or omissions, all those in favor? Carried. And from the private meeting of February the 12th.
Move adoption.
Second.
Those in favor of adoption? Carried.
On Thursday from Castlegar and Trail, we have Castlegar Novice Hockey at 5 p.m. At 6 p.m. we have the Heart Fund Banquet. 6:30 Jazz Duo. 7 p.m. West Kootenai Today. And 7:30 p.m. Chamber Chat. Well, that's it for this week. We really hope that you enjoyed the show. Next week, your host will be Prashant Ziskind. Thanks for tuning in.